I want to welcome everyone tonight to our wonderful Snark chat with our wonderful Bonnie Burroughs. Bonnie, we are so thrilled to have you. But I just want to give welcome our Snark patrons who are here. We love you. We're so grateful for the way you love and support us. We are so excited tonight to be able to introduce this wonderful human that we get to enjoy almost every day on our televisions, and someone we love to snark, Gladys. We snark to Gladys all the time, but we love her. Anyway, Snark, you want to do an official introduction for our special guest, and I'm going to pin Bonnie and I'm going to pin you so that everybody can see you. So here we go.
Thank you, Leanne. I am Snarky Sprite from General Hospital Snark. I am so thrilled tonight to introduce to you one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. She puts the glad in Gladys, and I have to say, one of the best attributes of any human being is if you can make someone in your life look forward to you in any aspect whatsoever. This person does it for me. You know, whether it's me looking forward to seeing Gladys on screen, whether it's me being a friend to this beautiful human being now. Bonnie Burroughs is all of that and more. So without further ado, I welcome our favorite guest of tonight, Bonnie Burroughs.
Yay! Welcome, welcome.
Yay. That is so kind, Sprite. And I'm happy to meet you, Leanne, and get to see all of your faces, everyone else. That's so touching to me. I don't know if y'all know that, but Sprite and I did get to meet recently, and it was just this, you know, like things happen. That's somebody, a friend of mine who met him and made the connection, and I reached out to him, and we've had a bit of time together since then. It was like a house on fire, you know. He and I we just we hit it off, and it was through that I discovered your highly entertaining Facebook page. Oh my God, it's so much fun. I mean, it is so up my alley. I'm a fan of the show. The true test of my own appreciation for General Hospital, which I watch religiously, except I haven't seen Friday's episode. It's okay if you want to tell me anything.
I haven't either. I haven't seen it either.
Okay. You're behind. The true test for my devotion to the show will be, you know, if and when they kill me, and I'll see if I can keep watching after that. But what was my point? Oh. So, I mean, I love to snark at the TV. You know, I watch it with my husband, and, you know, we just have a good old time yelling at the TV, sometimes crying, often laughing. So, you know, what a great medium for finding humor and joy and making fun of things. And, oh my gosh, survival skill, right? Great life strategy. So thank you. You're bringing some joy to the world for anybody that's aware of GH Snark.
Well, thank you, Bonnie. We're thrilled that you get it, because you can imagine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to tell some people on the page, it's not real life, because some people take it very seriously.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of our rules is you don't snark the actors. If you're talking about somebody as a human being, no. These are the artificially fake people that we get to snark, because real people don't like to be snarked. It's not nice.
Right. No, we can snark in private, but we can't about real people, but we can't do it. We can't do it on the page of the social media.
Well, and you can imagine that your character isn't exactly the most popular right now, sadly. And you know what? I bet that's almost really more fun to play. That kind of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if people kind of liked her for a minute, you know, or appreciated her, or decided she had a heart, or, you know, you can imagine during all the tragic stuff that happened, and that's awful. awful, like, yet necessary element of tragedy and drama of these things.
Bonnie, you say that you are not like Gladys, but you adore her. You love her. Talk to me, or talk to us about what you see in Gladys that is so special, because we know, I mean, but it's important to know how you view her as her portrayer.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's fun about playing a character like her, or just any character that's just kind of a mess, and gets in trouble a lot, is, you know, she'll say and do things that I never would, and that's fun to do. You know, it's just fun to be, you know, misbehave, or, you know, she got drunk a couple times. I mean, not that that's fun, but you know what I mean. You get to get sloppy, or tell somebody off, be a little loud. It's just, you know, that alone is fun. And in terms of what, Sprite, I talked to you about this already a little bit. I believe a lot of people, and fair, and I do understand people characterizing Gladys as evil. I don't think of her as evil. I think of her as making poor choices. Sounds kind of lame, but you know, maybe she's a new soul, you know, and I think she's had a lot of hard luck, and is a little bit of a black sheep, if you will.
She's an opportunist.
So, you know,
she's an opportunist.
Yeah. You know, and I think, yeah, and out of necessity, you know.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to go on a very brief tangent, really brief tangent. I just read a book that I recommend to everyone. Absolutely brilliant novel. Maybe some of you have read it or are aware of it. It's called Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Anybody?
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So this character, you know, this is a kid. It's told from the point of view of a kid whose mom was a teenager and an addict, and he never knew his father, and he goes through foster homes, and I'm not going to spoil anything. That's all established pretty early in the story, but you can imagine. And I'm not saying Gladys had that much of a hard luck story, and I've not been given her backstory. It's my imagination, but you know, people can have legit reasons for doing effed up things. So, and often do. So
That's a great analogy. Barbara's Kingsolver to the rescue.
There we go. How's that? Bringing some
There you go.
fancy literature to
as an actor, you know, I mean, it's always fun to play those kind of roles where you get to yell and scream and cry and do these things that you don't do in real life. It's very cathartic. But as an actor, I've always been told, you know, you've got to believe your character is not a villain. You've got to believe that what your character is doing is the right thing for how that character would behave. Otherwise, because otherwise you're judging your character, and you shouldn't be doing that.
So you're you an actor, David?
I was, but I write for television.
He's also a writer.
Okay.
Okay. I work a lot with actors, so
yeah. No, 100%.
But that's it. You absolutely have to believe, you know, that this person is Gladys is doing the things that she feels is right to survive.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
You know.
Yes, I believe that deeply.
We have some questions in the chat, Bonnie, if you're open.
Yeah.
Ask Bonnie who is one person she likes to act with, and who would she love to interact with on the show that you haven't yet had the chance to be with?
Mm-hmm. I love acting with Maurice, Sonny. He's just kind of wild. I love working with Sophia, who plays Sasha. We have a really lovely relationship now. I mean, I've never had lunch or coffee with her, but we are bonded. I mean, I do feel kind of maternal toward her, and we have a great appreciation for each other. I think she should have been nominated for an Emmy.
Agreed.
I don't really know what's up with that, but
we want to have words with you about the fact that you didn't submit a reel, because you should have been nominated.
we'll circle back to that. That's very kind. Thank you. But we'll get back to that. Okay, who would I like to work with? I worked with Roger a little bit. Dr. Gatlin Holt, I'd love to work with him more. I would love to work with Jeff Kober more. I assume he's coming back at some point. I mean, he and I just had like a flyby scene one time. He's fantastic. I would love to work with Jane Elliott. I don't know if my path is ever going to cross hers. I ran into her in the hall the other day. I'm like, oh, I'm such a fan, which made me feel, you know, kind of like a weirdo, but she was gracious. And I mean, I worship her, and I noticed she is the patron saint of, yeah, fair. That's fair.
I mean, who
perfect,
better, right?
excellent choice. Yeah, nobody. She's a treasure.
Yes.
Excellent.
Now,
Well,
Bonnie, I'm not sure if I've ever seen you cross paths. I know you've been involved with Lydia Look, who plays, of course, Selena. Now, have you ever been in the scene with her bodyguard, Mr. Lee?
Oh yeah, so that's coming up.
Oh, great.
It's going to come up. Yeah, there's a little bit.
He was our guest last month.
I got to see that chat was shared with me, and I got to see part of it, and he was so charming, you know, with you all as he is in person. So I had just met him recently, and there's a bit that the director came up with that was not verbal. I hope it translates in editing, and that it translates on the screen. Very imposing physical presence and sweet, beautiful person. So I was a little bit
so gentle and lovely.
I was a little bit flustered.
Yeah.
We had the vapors too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say, Leanne.
Yeah, we had the vapors too.
Well, so I want to talk more. Let's go back to those horrible months of poor Sasha, who must have had some kind of voodoo doll in the writer's room that they insisted on, like, killing her baby. Then we had to endure the death of her husband. I mean, like, this poor woman, what did she do to piss off Frank, you know?
Hilarious. No kidding. I mean, I know Frank adores her. It's like, what? Yeah, why are they? And that's what I'm now circling back to, the why no Emmy nomination for what she had to do last year and did beautifully. So there may be some I've been asked a couple times about why didn't you submit. I'm still not very clear about the submitting yourself part.
I read the instructions. I'm like, I don't have a PhD in understanding how to submit an Emmy reel.
Yeah. To me, it seems just kind of almost counterintuitive that you would submit yourself, but shows you how much I know. So, you know, she's busy with her, Sophia's busy with her little boy who's not even 2 years old. And she's, as you may have observed, about to get that kid a sibling. Yeah. Oh, so maybe she doesn't give it a second thought. I mean, when I see her, I'll definitely tell her that I think she was, I don't know. It seems like a huge oversight to me that she wasn't nominated, but yeah, because they put her through the ringer. I would not be able, those are not my chops. I've never had to play in my whole, I mean, I've played many times I've played mother of a dead kid. And it's so painful. And every time I've had to do it, I've wished that I was in a position with my career where I could say to my agent, I'm not auditioning for that part. It's too painful to portray that. Also, and you know, some people on soaps, especially some of the women who've been on for a long time, seem to me to have a great facility for tears. I'm not saying
Laura Wright
it's not
famous for that, you know.
Say that again, Leanne.
Laura Wright is famous.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little jealous. I don't have that facility for it. So maybe it just means they're better actors than I am, or maybe it means they can cry more easily. But I think like with the role, with the role that Sophia had to play, I mean, you couldn't have not cried your ass off for all that stuff. She had to do it, you know?
So hard.
So Bonnie, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You bring up a great point. You talk about crying on cue and that sort of thing. It reminds me of an actress from One Life to Live, Cassie Wesley DePaiva, who was the perfect actress who could always cry on cue. When they did the live One Life to Live episodes, they would often have her cry on cue in those episodes, and she would do it like without even batting an eyelash.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So it just brought to my memory that you were on that show, and I do distinctly remember you. I didn't know who you were,
Right.
and I didn't know much about that character that you played, but I do distinctly remember you playing Stacey Giordano on One Life to Live, and you said it was for 3 months. It seemed to me like it was for a year, but maybe it was that short.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I distinctly remember you in that police officer suit. So talk to us a little bit about what your experience been like with soap opera in general, growing up. Did you watch soaps? Did your family introduce you to soaps? How did you get into soaps? And how did One Life to Live come about?
Okay, cool. I just saw it because, you know, when somebody puts something in the chat, it just pops out. So no, I was on One Life to Live in, I think, 1986, David, 86, because IMDb used to have it like flipped around. It had it as 1968, which is when I would have been 7 years old.
That's when the show started.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was on there, I believe, in 1986.
You were.
And I am old. Because I thought it was like 2006.
No, I don't think that makes you old. I'm going to try to get rid of this fly. I don't know if hopefully you're not seeing a fly flying through my rectangle. Let's see. As a kid, does Dark Shadows count?
Wow.
Oh, yes.
And Edge of Night. I know we watched Edge of Night. I'm sure we watched a little bit of all of them. Let's see. I'll just tell you another tangent, one of my specialties. I've been married for almost 30 years to a wonderful musician person. And a year after we got married in 1992. And a year after we got married, we took a trip to Italy for about a month, and we got in a huge fight because I said to him, "You need to stop." He was like watching 2 soaps a day instead of working. I mean, if this is at the time when back then you had to like sit in front of the TV and watch it for an hour, you couldn't zip through. And, you know, now we watch it over dinner. But I was just on his case because I thought he needed to be putting his nose to the grindstone instead of watching his soaps every day. So we had a huge fight in Italy, which was a great thing to do when you just spent a fortune taking a long, glamorous trip. Anyway, that was a tangent.
And you were in Italy, so he probably was missing those 2 shows. So he wasn't even watching them at the time.
Exactly. No, he actually used to watch 3 in a row. He used to watch the 3 ABC soaps in a row, which were All My Children, One Life to Live, and GH.
Hospital.
Thank you. Hello. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that was a moment.
If you go back as far as I do, it was Loving, Ryan Soap, All My Children,
All
One Life,
5.
General Hospital, Edge of Night.
Edge of Night. 6.
Ooh.
Yep.
6.
Wow.
I kept track of, yeah.
Oh wow. I told Sprite too when we first met. I loved Santa Barbara back in the day, and I did a little stint on there for like a little recurring role for a while. I just thought that was a particularly smart show.
When did you move out to LA,
I
Bonnie?
had to remind Bonnie, she didn't know this, but the creators of that show, well, Bridget Dobson is the daughter of Frank and Doris Hursley, who created General Hospital. So it's a very, very small tilt-a-world General Hospital world. Anyway.
Bonnie, when did you come out to LA?
1988. Almost, what is that? That's almost 35 years ago.
5 years ago. It was 5 years back.
1988. I lived in New York from 80 to 88. I moved to New York from Atlanta to go to acting school. And yeah.
Do you consider yourself a Southern belle?
No.
You don't seem Southern to me.
Right. Exactly. No, I'm my Southern heritage means, sorry, I'm seeing people in the chat. My Southern heritage is precious to me. It's a beautiful part of the country with obviously such complicated history and you know, a lot of backwards stuff going on to this day. And I say that with love and like, you know, you can bitch about your own family, you know. Yeah, but I was always kind of a misfit. I'm pretty gregarious now and extroverted, and I love chatting with people, and but that's 180 from what I was like growing up. I was very almost a loner in high school. I did drama club, and that's what led me to go to drama school eventually. A lot of actors, I think, have that story. Like, that's the only place I thought I could express myself, you know. But yeah, my youngest child is doing a little brief stint with AmeriCorps in South Carolina. But now I lived in South Carolina for many years as well, and I'm really glad she's having that experience in that part of the country with those wonderful people, you know, who are genuinely gracious, and they've been so kind to her. And they've also said the things, you know, she's a child of Los Angeles her entire life. So they've said some things that have made her go, whoop, what?
I bet.
You know, so
I'm experiencing that, Bonnie, right now because I live in New York, but I have a home in Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh, my kid was just
right now. I go back to New York on Tuesday. So
well, that's so funny, David.
I get like whiplash when I come down here because I met a New Yorker the other day from Syracuse, and we start talking. I'm thinking, great, we're on the same page. And then she just said something, and I'm like, what?
Right. Exactly.
Like, oh, yeah.
It's funny. My daughter was just she corrected me this morning on the phone. She said, Mom, it's not Greenville, it's Greenville.
Oh, Greenville. Yeah.
And she was talking about how cool it is, how groovy it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Greenville Center downtown has become a real like food, craft beer, kind of artsy town, but it's still surrounded by the rest of South Carolina.
Yes.
So,
yes, I know.
You know, it's sort of got that dual personality.
I know. Like, I have to be careful. I can veer into politics just so easily because it's something that interests me, but I'm not going to do that. I better not do it.
Yes, I have to pull my cards sometimes on the page, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Hey, there's some questions in the chat, if you don't mind. John asks, are you allowed to ad-lib lines, or do you have any input into your lines, and how are those things in play generally when you're on set?
That's a fun question. A lot of people are curious about that. So I would say short answer, no, you're not allowed to ad-lib. Now, a lot of times there are little, you know, moments. Just in the course of taping so quickly, you know, the dialogue doesn't come out perfectly. I also have the sense, although I can't prove it, and no one's ever told this to me, but I have the sense that, you know, some of the big stars that have been around for decades and, you know, the real money people on the show, they have more license than maybe somebody like me does. I've seen them. I mean, I've had the experience of people. I see that, Jewel. I have had the experience of being corrected. You know, they'll stop, you know, yell cut, and not yell. They don't yell cut. They just say cut and say the line is da 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 da. Every once in a while, I'll take a liberty. I'm trying to remember. I took a Ken Schreiner, 100%. And he's such a treasure. He's such a treasure and there's nobody like him. So he can, I think, almost get away with anything.
Yeah, we love him.
I'm racking my brain to remember, what did I try to get away with the other day? Oh, I thought it was funny, and they're like, nope. So, you know, And now I'm coming up on 4 years of playing Gladys. So sometimes I will try something and just to dare myself to be courageous, which is not my best feature. And sometimes I get away with it, and sometimes they'll say nope, no. And I'll just say, oh, you want me to say what was written? I will. Will do. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, I do. I do.
I think the ad-libbing, Bonnie, in soaps kind of has gone away because of the way they're filmed now. I think back in the day, everything is so fast. Yeah. Back in the day when you actually filmed it like it was theater, like you were doing a play where you had the whole day to rehearse. I think you were allowed to ad-lib more and kind of make it more personal for you, and then let it go. But now it's just, bam, they crank it out.
And I will say, and not just because there are writers here, I've always believed this as an actor, even working in other genres with actors who are real, like almost dismissive of the words on the page. I'm always thinking, I'm hired as an actor. They wrote the script. Somebody did that job, my job is to, as faithfully as I can and respectfully as I can, take those words and make it work. That's what I really think about what's on the page. That's my job.
That's a good differentiation.
In that regard, I have a quick question. We make fun of the writing all the time on this website because that's what we do. And oftentimes, just the nature of soap opera allows us to do that because it can be so outlandish and whatever. But we do it out of love. I will say this, I am one of the biggest champions of writers in this world because I am a writer.
Yeah.
And I do love the writing team of General Hospital, despite its flaws. There are certain script writers who are so superb that they throw me for a loop sometimes. That's good. Is there any particular writer that you notice when you get a script and it's written by a certain script writer or breakdown writer or whatever? We know who the head writers are, but does anyone really get Gladys in a way that you do, or get Gladys that is so superb that you can't wait to say those lines?
So I was in anticipating talking about this tonight. I was going back over some. I went back to look at some scripts where I liked my material particularly, or I liked the way the show turned out on the air. And as I was doing that, I feel a little guilty and apologetic here, because when I went back to look, I had to kind of decipher who wrote the script. I could almost show you, well, y'all, the material that I get, I just get my material. I don't get the entire script for the show. And I'll get a list of the two head writers and then the list of all the other writers. So I'm thinking that the one that's at the top of the list of all the writers is the one who was responsible for the particular show. So I'm based on that lousy detective work on my part, it looks, I was going to say Shannon Peace has written some fun things for Gladys. But I can't take that to the bank. I would love the privilege to sit down with the writers and just ask I would have tons of questions for them, and how does it work, and how far ahead are you planning things, and what's the outline? I'd love to know. I don't think I'll ever get that privilege, but
well, sometimes we wonder how far ahead they plan things, because it seems like they constantly update their plans. Some of those plans are like,
it feels like they get on a horse and in the middle of the stream they change to 7 different horses. And
yeah, no, I would love to know the answer to that myself. I don't know.
As an actor, I have a question. As an actor, because you only get your scenes, do you find it difficult not to have greater context? Because that to me would throw me off.
Yeah, it is challenging, and my mother, I walk with my mother every morning, and she's a fan too, and she'll say, well, why is the da-da-da-da-da, who's doing this and what the, and I'm like, I don't know, Mom. How could, she still doesn't understand why I don't know.
I want to read a comment. There's some nice things that have been said about you. Susan says, I thought what was so good about Gladys and Brando, though, was that you conveyed her pain while also making it true to the character. Gladys probably wouldn't be quite so visibly grieving. It seems like she might be the person who sort of silently loses it or acts out in other ways. The gambling feels like a very natural reaction to the loss of her son. So props to you, Bonnie. Good job.
Oh, that's so kind. Is that your name is Shannon? That's so kind. I appreciate that. And yes,
Susan, yeah.
Susan, forgive me. Yes. Yeah. That's right. And thank you for that. Thank you.
We are, oh, I'm sorry, Leanne, go ahead.
I was just going to say, those were very difficult scenes for me to watch. As a mom who's lost kids. It was really, really hard. And I thought you and Sophia and Johnny, bless his heart, did such a great job around those scenes. So thank you for your vulnerability and all that you put into that. David, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, a lot of us were very surprised when they killed off Brando, and I know that you and Johnny Wachter are close in real life. Developed a relationship, and I mean, I don't know if you have any insight as to why they killed him off, because some people thought he was kind of a random, useless character, but I thought he was very well integrated into the show, and they could have, for all intents and purposes, not even bring Dex on. They could have had Brando go to work for Sonny, or Brando go undercover with Michael working for Sonny. So it was just, I think it was puzzling to a lot of us and surprising when they did actually kill him off.
Okay.
It had to come out of nowhere.
I appreciate your bringing that up. And I have some thoughts, and not really any intelligence necessarily, but I'll tell you what I think and what I know. I also want to go back, Leanne, and tell you that I did not know that you had lost children. And I said something very flip earlier about playing parts of,
yeah, it wasn't
anyway.
Flip. I can't even imagine how that would be, especially as a mom. I mean, you're still a mom, and doing those scenes would be just gut wrenching. So,
yes, as you know, as almost any of us can imagine, I'm sure, even whether or not you have children. So, David, yeah. What we were told, what Sophia and I were told on the set the day that we both learned that Johnny was getting cut, Frank told us, this is exactly what he told us. He said, we love Johnny and it's not Johnny. We did not know what to do with his story, and the cast is too big. That's what Frank told us. I'm sure there's more to it. And a lot of people that I know, my friends that are fans, or my family, or other people that I've talked to about the show, were all upset by Brando's demise. And another, I just also think, and this at the risk of sounding like a bitter old actress, showbiz is not a warm and fuzzy business. So, and I think, they're trying to crank out story, and I'm sure it's challenging. And my thought, it's interesting that you brought up Dex. Johnny told me that when Evan showed up on the show, and both of those guys are almost unbelievably nice people. And I think they've become friends too. They're both super nice, and they're fun to work with. They're just kind. They're professional. They're all the things that you would want to be around. But Johnny told me, he's like, when Evan showed up, it planted a seed in his brain of, ooh, my days might be numbered here. And then I thought, if the thought with Dex, I don't know when they hatched this idea of Dex and Jocelyn, but if they thought, oh, we want to take, one of these hunky henchmen and hook him up with Sonny's stepdaughter, then that would cross Brando out of the equation. Too old, mate. I don't know. Who knows?
I think you're close, because we always talk about the hunky henchmen and the hunky goons.
We call them our hunky goons. Yeah.
Hunky goons. Yeah.
Well, I
That's fun.
can remind you of something that you may not know about, Bonnie.
Mm.
On All My Children, there
Mm.
was a character named Jenny who was very beloved, and she had a wacky mother, or mother, whatever, Opal,
Mother, yeah.
who Dorothy Lyman played. And anyway, they killed off Jenny, and nobody thought that Opal would last. And she became such an integral piece of the canvas for All My Children until it ended.
Wow.
And then even went on to become part of the main canvas when it went on to streaming.
Wow.
So I will say this: if General Hospital has any idiotic idea of getting rid of Gladys, there will be a revolt, because you bring so much to this character, and she may not have the connections to the canvas that I would like for her to. I really want to see her become cemented into the Port Charles world, especially with Brando being gone. But she's such a gift and a fresh face and energy to this show that when I watch, like, I'm excited to see, because we never know what she's going to do. And that's not true about 90% of the other characters, honestly. I know what Sam's going to whisper. I know what other characters are going to do. And with Gladys, it's like, oh my god, this is like a wild, the Joker is wild and Gladys is the Joker. So stay.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's pretend that Gladys is going to be on canvas for 20 years.
Okay.
Gladys needs a love interest. So if everyone on the canvas, who would Gladys pick?
Okay. Well, this would never happen because he's not on often enough, and the actor. The actor is just too fancy and important, and I don't think they would. I think Gladys is beneath him, but Stephen A. Smith, Brick. I'd love for Gladys to hit on Brick.
I'm going to say that. Oh my gosh, it would be fantastic.
Well, story-wise, it really would enrich the everything, because that would put Sonny in a pickle, and nobody loves to see Sonny in a pickle like me. So yeah.
And also that goes with the tradition of, like, we love these offbeat couples.
Yeah.
Like Hazel and Scotty and Diane and Robert, and so that would fit in perfectly.
Right.
And that's so far-fetched.
She could cuddle up to him because he could probably help her out with her financial woes.
I thought for a while that they were going to do a little Gladys Cyrus.
Yeah, no, I used to think that.
And you were sort of getting into bed with him, figuratively.
No, that's right. That's
that
right. Maybe she's going to land in Pentonville, and they're gonna. I don't know.
How do you look in orange?
I would be totally down with that. What'd you say, Leanne?
How do you look in orange? Which, But we laugh. Speaking of colors, one of the things I'm sure you've noticed that we snark is wardrobe, because it can be hilarious. Your wardrobe's fairly normal. We have nothing that has jumped out and frightened us. But holy freaking Hannah, some of the things they dig out of wardrobe. There was a period last fall, and it's still not entirely over, where in every episode, at least one or two women would be wearing the color persimmon. And it was everywhere. It'd be like, oh my gosh, did they have a sale at Nordstrom on everything in this color? What is it?
That's funny.
We joke about
That's funny. Of course, and all of it. Yeah.
So do you have anything?
Sometimes how do you match this?
I was going to say, do you have anything going on outside of General Hospital? Any shows coming up, or plays, or anything extracurricular?
No, short. No, not acting wise. I continue to audition. Do y'all tell me if you think I should be monitoring the chat too? Because I know there's some fun things.
No,
happening
I
in the
got
chat,
it.
but
You don't worry about the chat.
You got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I continue to audition, and I cannot get arrested, to use the vernacular. But sometimes I'll say that to my actor friends, and they just roll their eyes at me like, you have this great gig on daytime TV. Shut up, And it is my favorite job that I've ever had, hands down, no contest. It's because I've gotten to become part of the company and gotten to really know Gladys. It's great, 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 great job. And I would love to, and I know I will. I'll get other work again. The world of union commercials has been a little bit decimated. Don't get me started on the causes of that. So that's been disappointing. So there's not as much opportunity for commercials. Commercials are one of those things where when you're in acting school, you think, I'm never going to do a commercial. And then you get out into the world and you have rent and you need health insurance and you get a commercial and you're like, woo.
Residuals.
Yeah.
Residuals.
Oh, sweetheart. Yeah, exactly. So that's some sweet stuff. So, one day I'll get another one of those, and one day I'll book another. I mean, I've auditioned for damn Grey's Anatomy a bazillion times. So, is it going to be on long enough for them to get around to casting me? Who knows?
So share with us some of your work with the homeless here in Los Angeles.
Oh, yes.
Where do you work?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Okay, that's yeah. The other thing, my other real extracurricular is teaching yoga. We can talk about that if you want to. We don't have to. But on Tuesday mornings, the place where I go to church, I go to a church called the Unitarian Universalist Church of Studio City. And Tuesday mornings, we host a drop-in where we provide breakfast and a hot lunch and a bagged lunch and clothing and toiletries to whoever needs it. Some of these people are sleeping outside. Some of them are sleeping in their cars. Some of them are in shelters. Some of them, I know some of you at least are in Los Angeles, but some of them have tiny homes. We have these tiny homes that have been built. Some of them are, have housing vouchers and are just waiting for housing to come up. I've been doing that for 2 years, ever since it began. And it's so, as I'm sure you all know, those situations where, maybe people think you're the helper, you end up getting as much, if not more, out of it than the people that you think you're helping. Homelessness is such it's exploded where I live and everywhere. It's extremely visible here where I live. And until I started working so closely with these folks, I could absolutely be nervous walking down the sidewalk, walking around an encampment, having someone approach me at a freeway exit in my car or whatever. That's pretty much been erased by the experience of getting to know the people. And most of them are regulars and they come every week. Some of them are fans of the show, and that's cool.
Fun.
Yeah, I know. One guy jokes around with me, and he flips me a lot of crap about it, and I flip it right back at him, and he's trying to wiggle secrets out of me, and I, so we just have a fine time joking back and forth about all that. It's just, it's so touching to get to know them. So very, very meaningful. Thank you for asking me about that.
I'm in the same situation here in New York. My church does a twice a week soup kitchen, has been since 1977. And
wow.
We did not miss a beat. When the pandemic hit, we went from a dine-in service to takeout. And we went from serving maybe 200 people a day to now over 700 with all the refugees coming to New York. And and it's like you said, you get to know these people, and they're just people. They're just, they're, but for the grace of God go I.
Exactly.
It's, it's the same thing. I mean, although, we have seen a lot of people lately with increased mental health issues. And, we also do, a medical van that comes once a week.
Yep.
And then we also do a shower van that
Yep.
comes. And so, they get a hot shower.
So important. Just
toiletries.
something so simple, so important. I'll just tell
I really go by, Gandhi said it, the way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. I really, truly believe that. I mean, it's very powerful. And, I appreciate that, what you do so much.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for what you do. And I'm sure everyone, has their own experience of, even if it's just, like calling a friend when you don't feel like it, it makes you feel better if they needed someone to talk to or whatever. It's medicine. And it also keeps me very tuned into the, this big challenge that we have as a society and a culture of like not having enough housing. So, there's some hopeful signs. I'll just say one more quick thing about that in terms of the mental health and the addiction and so forth. One woman, we work with many, many more men than women, but one youngish woman that I met early on in my time doing this she said, I use meth to stay awake at night because if I don't stay awake at night when I'm under the bridge, somebody's going to take my stuff and do things to me. And that had not occurred to me before, which maybe feels silly that it hadn't occurred to me. But so you never know which came first, the struggle with substances, and not all of our guests struggle with substances, but we don't know how people got where they are, as you said, by the grace of but for the grace of God or whatever one subscribes to. Yeah. I'm texting my husband to bring me my laptop charger.
We're not going to keep you a whole lot longer, but I do want to hear about your yoga. Your yoga. You
yeah.
How long have you been doing this? I'm very curious.
I've been teaching for my husband ignores 90% of my texts, so he might not bring it to me anyway.
If you fade off, we know why.
No, I can get it myself too. I've been teaching for 9 years. I do teach in a studio. I also teach. I teach like the couple of senior retirement home type situations here in LA. I teach classes in those places too. Those are not public classes, but I teach every Thursday. One of the classes I teach is still streams on Zoom. They've taken Zoom away from some of the classes I teach, but I teach a class Thursday mornings at 10:30. Thank you, honey. That streams on Zoom at 10:30. So if anybody wants some gentle yoga, you could go and sign up online and I'll take care of you.
How wonderful.
And you can do that from anywhere. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a crappy little website called Bonnie Burroughs Yoga. I mean, I'm not trying to pitch my.
No, but this is what we do. We pitch
Just
things.
your forum.
Yeah, this is, sweetie, you're giving us of your time. We're going to help you out. If I were closer, I'm in Long Beach, so I'm not going to schlep to Studio City, but for yoga.
Right, no.
Yeah. No,
that's very
rewarding.
It's been a through line since I began doing it. Being an actor is it can be very crazy making, much more so when I was younger than now. But it's been a lovely, like I've got this going on all the time, and it's really meaningful to people. People really appreciate what they get from it, which is not just being able to touch your toes. It could also be just lying on your back, watching your breathing and calming yourself down. That's actually the greatest gift of it. Nothing to do with crazy shapes I posted a show-offy story on my Instagram today, which makes it sound like everything I'm saying is not true. But no, the main part is this part. Yep. I often say to my yoga students, if I had begun practicing many years ago, I would have yelled at my children way less often. So, they're okay. They're not too scarred. They're all right, but it's definitely made me a better person, I like to think. Oh yeah, it's Pam.
Yeah,
On the site. See,
right.
it's a really low tech website, but it will give you any information you need if you wanted to.
Well, I
Join
can
me
suggest
online.
that maybe you need to start like this new kind of yoga. Let me just pitch this to you.
Let's hear it.
Snarky yoga. Kind of defies the purpose, but it could be entertaining.
That's really funny, Leanne. You know what? And I think I would do a good job of that.
I think you would.
Because I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
It would be great.
I
would drive to Studio City for that.
For that. Well, you'd have to be my co-teacher with me. I'll do the shapes and you do the snark.
Yeah, I'll be the non-bendy one. They'll be able to tell us apart. Oh, well, before you pop off, just know that everyone is just madly in love with you. They have nothing but good things to say. They're very curious about how working with Josh Kelly is. Do you like?
Yeah, he's great. He's great. Yeah, so he and I should have mentioned him. He's so fun. Yeah, he's lovely. I think he too is, a little quirky, and I think he and Gladys have some things in common, damn it. I think he's got a good heart, and he's obviously messed up a lot. It's funny. We've already covered the part about me being protective of and very affectionate towards Gladys, and sometimes to the point of like, Bonnie, calm down. She is just a character. It's okay if people hate her. It's fine. But I almost feel like this kind of thing of like, oh well, everybody likes Cody now and everybody hates Gladys, and Cody's hardly a sterling character. But I just adore him.
We sadly have not fallen. I love Josh Kelly. I mean, I know him from the OT, the One Life to Live days. He's fantastic, right? But Cody, the character, kind of came on in a weird way. And sadly, forgive us, but you will find this entertaining. We've nicknamed him Truck Nuts.
I don't even get that, but I think it's hilarious.
Well, it's just a reflection of his sort of hillbilly, goofy, kind of dorky, derpy. There's the word. Yeah.
He's very derpy and truck nutty.
You do know what truck nuts are? Those things that hang off the back of trucks. Have you never seen that, Bonnie?
Oh no, I have seen that. I've driven through Texas. I've seen that.
You're from Georgia.
Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah, I've seen that. Yes, and that is perfect. And I bet Josh would appreciate that.
But I will say I know Josh from his One Life to Live days as well, and personally from New York. But I will say this: I was so disappointed when he came on because I just think they botched his character. But I have to say, the little redemption tour they're doing with his character seems working. I'm starting to warm up to him, even though right now they're throwing Gladys under the bus.
Yes, yes, I hear you. I hear you, and I get the a beauty of soaps too. I would suggest, well, y'all are probably more expert than I am, but they could do anything with any character that they want to. I mean, didn't Michael kill somebody many years ago? I mean, people they could do whatever they. I have to be careful too, because I discuss the show with my mom, and every once in a while I make the mistake of I'll say, oh, but what about when Cody blah 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 blah, and she's like, what? And then I realized that I saw that scene being taped when I was sitting in my dressing room 4 days ago instead of on the air, which makes me a little worried about my own.
So Bonnie,
truck nuts.
What would your mother tell us about you that you wouldn't tell us?
Oh, that's such a good question. She is my biggest fan just as a person, almost to a fault. So I'm trying to think. She probably doesn't even know this, but I have a memory of singing in the car in the back seat as a child and having her shush me. So maybe she would tell you that I'm a terrible singer, but what I remember it as like a scar that I carried forever, to the point where when I was in drama school and we had to get up and sing a solo in voice class, I could not get through it, and I ran into the bathroom crying.
Oh no.
So I'm blaming my mom for that. So maybe she would tell you that, well, she would tell you that I was a goody two shoes as a kid. What's wrong with that? We need those people. That's probably one thing she would tell you.
That's great.
Well, I just want to give you right before you came on and I let everybody in, Sprite was talking to us about you, and he was saying, she's just so human and so wonderful. And I'm seriously, Bonnie, I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, I want to be her friend. I mean, it's like, I can tell by what you're talking about that we would so mesh together. Anyway, I just want to express, and I know many of our patrons here feel exactly the same way, that you have come into this space. You have been so authentic and so real, and you're just a good human, and we love that. So thank you for your time. We want to call you back at some point because you're fun.
Oh yeah, well, I want to come back. It's you all are. It's obviously it's such a nice strokes for me. But at looking at your page too, it's fun to see how smart and thoughtful and funny so many soap fans are. I mean, that's just so fun. I think there can be some stupid, ignorant assumptions about soap fans, and so some of the soap fans I know are just so awesome, and I would want to be their friends too. So let's just say we're friends now.
Okay.
And thank you for all of your kind words. It means a lot to me. I'm a very lucky person, is what I really am. So
well, we're glad you're lucky, because it rubs off on us. And everybody, the chat is just, everyone is like, we have a whole new respect for you and for the character of Gladys. We're so excited to have met you, and they just are thanking you so much for being here with us, Bonnie. And Sprite, thank you for introducing us to this wonderful woman.
He's right.
We'll bring her back when we get Brick on, so that we can...
I want to ask a quick question about your husband. You said he's a musician.
Yeah.
What kind of musician?
He's got he's sort of an old rocker. He's he's one of the many unheralded artists. He never did crack through, but just a wild natural talent.
Has he ever written a song about you?
He's written more than one song about me. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
what's your favorite?
Well, there's a song called Lemonade.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. He's not on Spotify, so he's kind of hard to find. He's got a website called nickperoni.com with some songs on it. If you ever want to check that out, and also some digital art. He's an artist. I don't know what I was thinking. I dated some investment bankers and some lawyers, and then I married an unemployed musician.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all did that. Yep. And some of us are unemployed musicians, so it all works. Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Thank you for making music. My God, I couldn't live without it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I tend to be more on the classical side of things, but that's just my neck of the woods. So if you're ever down seeing the Master Chorale or anything like that, we may cross paths. So I don't sing with Master Chorale. I just go because I know people in the Master Chorale. So anyway.
Right. My daughters both sing, so I have a huge appreciation for choral music and all musicians. And
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time. Thank you
so
for
much
being
fun.
So accessible and delightful. And we are I'm gonna unpin everybody so that they can so that you can see everybody. Hold on, let me I can't talk and unpin at the same time. You guys, if you want to wave at Bonnie and just kind of smile.
I've been looking at everybody. Everybody that's on camera. I can see you all. Thank you. And even those of you I can't see, thank you. And what a treat and what a privilege. I'm so flattered.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. We love you. Thank you, Bonnie. Again, blessings on everyone. we will see you in a week from Wednesday when we're going to be talking to Lisa Lociero. So yeah,
Ooh,
she's in a play right now, and we're going to be talking to her about that play. And I just want you to know that if you are ever in anything, please let us know, because first of all, we will come see you, and second of all, we'll put it out on the page. So
we love to promote.
We do.
Oh, you'll have so much fun with her. She's also as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. So,
and she's about this big. She's so teeny tiny.
She's about this big.
Yeah.
Don't tell her this. Here's my closing thing. Don't tell her. I'm not kidding, actually. I was in her dressing room once. She has a dressing room, and I just end up getting parked in dressing rooms of, wherever they can put me on a given day. And I took a picture of one of her shoes and sent it to my daughters. Her heels were this high. She's a teeny tiny little thing, which is not what I am. I'm fascinated by a person that can wear a 7-inch heel or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah, that's life-threatening.
For me,
all
it
right,
would
you
be.
guys. Yeah, for me too. All right. Good night, everyone. All my Snarkies, we love you. I'll get this up on the page, and everybody can see this video. Bye, Bonnie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Delightful.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, Bonnie.
Well.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Good night.